Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you some time management advice. So without further ado, let's get started. So you first have to know what is time management. Time management is being able to organize and plan your time between different tasks and activities. If you're able to successfully manage your time, you're going to find it much easier to do things on a day-to-day basis. You're also going to be able to get a lot done in a shorter amount of time. Time management is especially useful when you need help, when your stress is super high, or you have a lot of tasks that you have to complete. In short, the better you manage your time, the more successful you're going to become. First, I'm going to cover how to organize your time and how to organize your tasks. First thing you need to know is your goals and what you're trying to complete. So most of the time when I'm trying to manage my time, I have to know what I'm trying to complete, what my vision is. I mostly use time management for school and just a lot of assessments that I have to complete. So basically what I have to do is make a mood board on Pinterest, or what I also use is landings. Basically these sites help me romanticize and just plan out my ideal goal and my end results that I want to achieve. For school, I'm trying to get the top results and trying to have really good scores. What I do is go on Pinterest to find inspiration and stuff that will help me motivate and get me started on thinking about the goals that I want to do. And then I put it into a mood board to just help myself find some inspiration. So when it comes to this, don't try to copy someone else's lifestyle. What I'm trying to do is just to find some images that would resonate with me and my goals that I want to achieve. Landing is just a similar site that also works similar to Pinterest, where you just lay out your images, print it out, or just have it as your laptop lock screen. If you're not much of an image person and you prefer writing your things down, what I would recommend is just getting a blank piece of paper, and if you have a lot of tasks to do, to write down the things that you have to do. And if you also like to work online, that also works on a blank Google Doc. When you have to organize things a little more strictly and more detailed, I would recommend using Google Sheets. For my practice end of year exams, I managed to fit in all my subjects, plan ahead of the subjects that I am trying to prioritize and the amount of time I put in, as well as summarizing the hours I did that day to keep track of my progress. My friend sent me this, so it was much easier to do. So if you actually find it easier to use a calendar or a paper calendar, this is much more easier. The goal of this is just to plan out your study or just your tasks ahead of time so that you don't forget things, and so you are completing the amount of time that you have to do per subject. So when it comes to organizing, you also have to know how to prioritize your tasks. So what you have to do is put the most important tasks first. Once you find your task, you have to separate it into subheadings or subtopics. So what I like to do is make a brainstorm. On a blank piece of paper, I do a brainstorm, and what I do is put my topic in the middle and then all the subtopics or the subtasks that I have to complete in order to finish the whole topic or finish revising for the whole topic. So what I do is highlight the parts that are the subtopics, and this is the main topic in the middle. And then on the side, I have the list of the things that you have to do within the subtopics. So this makes it much easier when I'm trying to revise or study or do any tasks, so I know that the little details that I might miss won't be missed out. This is super easy, so make sure that you do this when you're trying to manage your time if a task is difficult or has a lot of things that you have to complete. So once you've organized your tasks, what you have to do is make sure you put times for each task that you have to do. Obviously, the more important and difficult one, you're going to have to put a lot more time and a lot more effort into it. Whereas the shorter or smaller tasks, you're only going to have to spend less time on it. Make sure to remind yourself if you don't complete a task, don't be discouraged, and make sure to complete the task later on or on another day. So basically, organizing is just making sure you know what you have to do and what you want to achieve, and you have to make sure how long you're going to spend on each task. The next thing that you have to do is manage your consistency. Especially when it comes to time management, consistency is the most important step. Even though I might get motivated from planning my goals and organizing my tasks, the most important thing I have to know is how to be consistent with my learning or just completing my tasks in general. You should know that bursts of motivation do not keep you throughout the whole study process or just throughout the whole completing your task. It's not going to improve your performance very well, and you're not going to have good results if you're not consistent with how you work. So to be consistent, when you set the goals of what you want to achieve, you have to make sure that it is achievable and you're able to complete it, so you're not setting unrealistic objectives. This is so that you don't overwork yourself or get too stressed and you don't even complete the task at all. You don't want to be overwhelmed with the amount of work that you have to do, so you have to make sure that the task that you're trying to complete, you're able to actually do it. And when it comes to tasks, I like to spread it over a longer period of time, have breaks in between or days in between where I don't do it at all so I don't burn out. I will have a video on burnout in the future, but basically what you want to do to make sure you don't get burnt out and mentally exhausted, you have to make sure to take breaks and take days to recharge and focus on yourself. If you think and you know that you're capable of completing a lot of tasks at once, then I say go ahead and try and do it. But if you know that you will get burnt out or you will get really tired, I just want you to spread out your tasks and make it super easy for yourself to complete. Don't make things harder than it already is. Also, when you do things over a longer period of time, you're going to have more productivity and you're going to be focused for longer. Another way to keep consistent is when you're trying to do a task, make sure you complete it as soon as possible. So if you're assigned something or you know you have to do something, you should do it as soon as you're notified. This is so you can avoid future problems like procrastination or distractions. I like to remind myself, as long as I'm willing to show up every single time and I'm consistent with a little bit of progress, it's way easier to maintain than trying to push like a lot of work all in one day and trying to do that every single day. I'm going to get really tired. It doesn't matter how much work you're willing to do in the beginning, as long as you're willing to show up every single time, you're going to be able to complete your task eventually. It's all in your mindset, so you have to believe that you're able to do it in order to actually complete the task properly. Over time, when you keep on showing up and do the things that you promised yourself that you would do, you're going to build trust with yourself, and this is going to build consistency. Once you build trust with yourself, you're able to complete much more harder tasks and you're able to do it in a shorter amount of time without as much breaks as before. So when it comes to consistency, just make sure that you're doing your tasks first with a little bit of breaks in between, and as you're getting more confident and as you're getting more stronger at time management, I recommend doing things for a longer period of time to build your confidence and to build your work ethic. So the last little notes on time management is just summarizing everything as something to do with your work ethic. Make sure that you prioritize your tasks and your time very well. You have to know that once you have free time or you're available to do something, you have to make sure you spend that time properly and you take advantage of that time. Make sure to prioritize your tasks and always do the most difficult or harder ones first, because it's going to be super easy. Once you climb over that mountain of difficulty, you're going to find the rest of the tasks much more easier. You have to learn to say no if you're trying to hang out with someone or you have something less important to do that isn't something to do with your work or your schoolwork. Build a strong mindset and be able to say no to things that aren't as important. Summarizing with organizing, if you're trying to say no, you have to constantly remind yourself of your goals and the long-term thing that you're trying to achieve. You'll find it much easier to be sidetracked if your goals aren't fresh in your mind or if your goals aren't very strong or important to you. Your goals, aims, and objectives are the things that are going to drive you to be able to complete your tasks and manage your time very well. When you're asking yourself about your goals, you have to remind yourself why it's important, how will it affect you in the long-term future, what will it teach you, what's the value it's going to bring into your life. Long-term motivation does exist, and this just comes through goals. If you're having trouble trying to set goals, this is some examples. So for example, just like my business assessment, my goal is going to be trying to get the top mark in the class. And this is important to me because it helps me show the hard work that I'm willing to put in for my own studies. It's going to help me get into my class next year. I'm also going to be able to have a better opportunity at university overall when I have a lot of good grades in business. What is this going to teach me? It's going to teach me the skills of business. Like, I'm trying to learn, of course, for the grades, but I'm also trying to gain some knowledge and also trying to gain some insight on the world around me. And the value of learning this business thing is going to help me problem solve and work on my day-to-day life, especially if I do encounter any business problems. So that was just a little example with my business assessment, but if you guys do have anything similar, you can obviously apply these similar questions to your own goals. You have to do this for every single task you're trying to complete, but if you do have difficulty trying to build motivation or trying to sustain that long-term time management like mindset, overall, this video is very condensed and the information is quite vague, so if you guys do have any specific questions relating to your own life, I will be glad to answer any of them. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed filming it. Bye!
Bye!